Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 368 for the week of September 11th, 2018. My name is Ryan Higgins, who's here with me this week.
Brock Sager.
Kevin Sharp.
And Charlie.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Sorry for missing last week. I had a very last-minute doctor's appointment I had to go to, so I was out of town on the weekend and for anniversary, and I was like, we'll just skip this week. It's kind of a crazy week. I was off Monday, sick, and just...
I was going to try and record something for the video channel, but the questions there wasn't too many, and then people started asking Bryce questions. I'm like, huh?
I think that was an honest mistake. Bryce could have chipped in and answered those questions if he wanted to, but he didn't. So we all know where Bryce's loyalties lay, and that's out of state. No. Actually, just sent Bryce all the info today for start recording his own the Bryce Briefly stuff. We're going to kind of do it and fill in. So
he was supposed to get his package today.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, apparently it took a detour down to L.A. first
Big comic shipment up to Bryce. So. Sorry for everyone. We missed last week, so...
but now you've got four white guys talking comics.
Yeah,
so
I know. Typical podcast.
That's okay. I'm just going to sit here and watch Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Yeah. I put some Space Ghost on here. Yeah. So I actually put a bunch of a C-Lab 2021 on here. Doesn't translate to with no audio. It's just it's such a minimal show that when there's no audio, you're like, is this on? Is this playing? Like Space Ghost, at least there's constantly stuff happening. Yeah. So yeah, Xena and Hercules is on here too. I don't know if you saw
that's so bad.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
This is in reference to the TV screen here in the store. Yeah.
Yes.
If everybody's wondering what are they possibly
slowly
talking
been burning my Blu-ray and DVD collections through the last year to play here at the store in the background.
The classic played today, Hulk.
But actually, yeah. Oh, yeah, the
Ang Lee one.
The Ang Lee one, yeah. Actually, this is a good way to start because one of the topics we had from last week that we didn't get a chance to talk about, obviously, because we were not here. We got all the official information for the DC subscription service, DC Universe, and that starts this Saturday, September 15th. Titans premieres October 12th, so just about a month from now. I actually got into the beta, so I've been able to test it out for the last week. It doesn't have the Titan show, obviously, but it has all the other content on there. And there's actually more than they originally announced. They had a 90-minute live stream with Kevin Smith and Terry Hatcher and a few other people from the Batman animated series. And Greg Capullo was on there talking in a recorded video, showing how to use the comic app and everything. It was pretty cool.
So I have a question about the comic part of it.
Yeah.
So in that video, all they talked about was Batman issue 1 from the New 52.
Yep.
They didn't talk about if there was an issue 2 or if it was this run of something.
A lot of it is just one issue. Okay. I haven't messed around with it too much. The video stuff seems mostly fine.
It wasn't when they first started.
But and again, it's beta. It's not launch, so I'm not too picky. But the first time I tried to use it, which would have been last Tuesday or Wednesday.
It was Tuesday.
The TV shows would load. So Batman the Animated Series, because it's the high def version, it looks great, right? But the movie stuff was chugging. It never, Netflix, it'll buffer. Yeah. It would never buffer. The longer format stuff would never buffer. It seemed to fix itself the other day when I checked it yesterday. We'll see under the load of launch day, and I'm sure it's coming out on Saturday, which is Batman Day, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch that HD stream of Batman the Animated Series, right? So when, 10,000, 50,000, I have no idea how many people signed up. 8? I don't know.
What number did you get again?
1,152, 1,052, something like that. So I remember 52 is in there. We'll see, what the video quality's like, knock on wood. I mean, it has to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Netflix is the standard. You can't really get much worse than Netflix. People won't deal with it. So, it's okay. The comic stuff,
So that was one of the weird things about the stream when I was watching it. They talked about also selling you comics through this.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. maybe it's just going to link out to your Comixology account, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's none of that functions in there. The store function wasn't in there. Simple things like editing your bio and like the community stuff wasn't really active. But I'm sure that will come up in the next day or two as we get ready for launch on Saturday. I'm trying to think of what else. Like even just simple things like the forum. You couldn't format your posts. Everything, even if you put in spaces or line breaks, it would just all format, dump everything into just like one string of text. And it's like this little weird stuff like that. I'm less concerned. I'm sure it'll. Sure, a lot of that stuff will clean up. But it's fine to use. And again, there was more than they said. So one of the jokes I said, it was like, oh, Superman 1, 2, and 3, but no Superman 4. That's one of the things they announced. Superman 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. But 4 is on there. Like, why would you not just say Superman 1 through 4? Like, what a weird thing to leave out.
Superman 4 is that bad.
But why would they say 3 then? Because 3 is also bad.
But it's not as bad as 4.
This may be a conversation for another episode.
3 and 4 are pretty equally terrible.
4 is worse.
Again.
4 has Lex Luthor, though.
4 has a supervillain.
3 has Richard Pryor and a computer.
Yeah, 4 actually has a villain, as bad as it is, and has this great wall building.
Charlie, did you subscribe to the service? I don't remember.
Yes, I finally did, but only recently.
And Ryan, you are subscribed. Besides the beta, you're a subscriber.
Yeah.
So when it launches on Saturday, Titans is the...
Not for a month. Titans doesn't come out for a month.
So your billing starts on the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
What will you get for people who are on the fence? What will you get for your money as of September 15th?
So there's so nothing new, right? No new content. Yeah. It's all the comics and all the old shows. So it's
and the animated movies and
it's a fair amount of the animated movies. It's Batman animated series, Justice League, Superman animated. It's all the Dini Bruce Timm-verse stuff is in there, right? Which again, they didn't announce that, but it's all in there in the beta. I assume that's all going to be there when it launches, unless they're going to pull Justice League and Superman. But those were not.
Assuming Wonder Woman in HD is already there.
The
Linda Carter,
the Linda Carter stuff. I don't know that it's in HD.
That was one of the things they announced is that and Batman the Animated Series were going to be in like
that's right,
HD
they did.
for the first.
Well, the Blu-ray DVDs are HD. Is it not? Is it Blu-ray?
They don't have the
quality?
Linda Carter in Blu-ray.
No, they have it on DVD. DVD's HD, all right? I mean, but they mean like remastered.
They mean high def
DVD.
Yeah,
Blu-ray quality.
Looks fine. I checked out one of the Linda Carter episodes. It didn't look noticeably better or worse than anything I'd seen. Batman, there's a comparison video floating around.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got that video. Like, my DVDs don't look like that. My DVDs look fine. I don't know where they got this first part of the comparison video from, but it looks good. It looks really good, but it's not vastly different than the DVDs. I mean, if you have like maybe an 80-inch TV, it's going to look a lot better, but that's probably the only reason. Even when
that's the only size TV Charlie has.
No, I don't have an 80-inch TV.
But I think it's okay.
Toby's looking at me like, why not?
I don't see a vast difference from the.
So will you be watching this streamed through a laptop or hooked up to your TV?
Well, Saturday at Comics Conspiracy for Batman Day, we'll be playing all in order Batman the Animated Series from the streaming app here. So if it doesn't work, DC, you've ruined my plan. I mean, I will probably watch none of this stuff for the first month. I mean, I'll have it on here at the store, maybe.
Yeah.
But I've seen all this stuff 1,000 times, right? I mean, the Linda Carter Wonder Woman's the only thing that I really haven't seen too much of. I've seen episodes, but I've never watched it.
So the better investment might be to subscribe in mid-October.
Yeah. Grab it on the 12th when Titans comes up.
Depends on how you want to subscribe. Because they did announce that they're doing the releases weekly. They're not like dropping the full seasons and whatnot. Right. So if you're going to end up with the subscription right now, if you subscribe for the year, you get the 3 extra months still.
Well, the way it's going to work, since it's not binge, right? It's weekly. They're going to basically have a new show constantly. So,
but what I'm basically saying is they have not announced when they're going to drop the 3 free months.
Right.
So leading up to the release, if you're on the fence and you don't care about the 3 free months and you plan to just do monthly, then sure, wait till October.
Yeah.
If you plan to subscribe for a year, you're better off doing it now, even though you'll have to wait a month because you'll get 2 extra free months, most likely.
If you want to binge, I think your best bet's going to go January, and you can watch all of Titans. March or April or May, and you can watch all of Young Justice. September, and you can watch all of, I'm sure that will probably be, the third will probably be Doom Patrol because they're already filming that. Swamp Thing will probably be finished by Christmas, right? They'll start Swamp Thing in October, right? Because it's going to be a horror show. So, I mean, if you were okay just, subbing individual
months. So you think they're going to do straight, well, no, you did include Young Justice in there because they also have the Harley Quinn show and the Stargirl.
Harley, Stargirl, and Metropolis are the 3 we've heard almost nothing about. Those are the last 3 that I think will happen. If my assumption, because they're already filming Doom Patrol and they've started casting for Swamp Thing, so my guess is it's going to be. We know Titans, then Young Justice, and then it'll be Doom Patrol, and then it'll be Swamp Thing. That's my guess.
Well,
and that gives Swamp Thing an October launch of next year, and they'll have a second season of Titans rolling in around, in between maybe.
I guess my question is if they're counting the other series as part of their, we need new content every week.
Yeah.
I'd find it very surprising if they scheduled 2 animated content like back to back.
I don't think they would. Doom Patrol's live action.
Well, no, but I'm saying... Okay, so we know we're getting one more season of Young Justice at least. We don't know if it will go beyond that. We know when Titans is dropping. If they do Swamp Thing and Doom Patrol back to back, they don't have an animated series to sort of buffer between those, which means if they have Stargirl and Harley as their other promised shows, like, do you think you're going to get a season 2 of Titans before you get the first season of Harley or the first season of Stargirl?
Could be. Could, yeah. Well, again, I think what they'll do is they'll have the first year will be just 1, 2, 3, 4. Year 2 is sort of like.
Well, I mean, we're talking 10-episode seasons too. They're not like they're 2.5 months.
Yeah. But I think what they'll do is they can do 1 a week with a little bit of buffer here and there, and little in between, and then season 2 of all these shows will start when the second batch starts of season 1, and they're kind of like 3 episodes of Titans, and then season 1 of something else starts while Titans is finishing up into the next show, and they'll kind of flow it so it's because I don't think they're going to do any of this binge. I think they're going to do it all weekly. That seems to be the method they're going, which I actually prefer.
Of course, the great unknown here is the quality of any of these shows.
Of course. This could be dead in a year, right?
Right, yeah.
That's
I mean, if you think about the Marvel shows on Netflix, if there was a Marvel Universe app where you got Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Defenders, Daredevil, one released staggered one after another, would people go like, I'm glad I'm subscribing to this?
Well, sure, people would.
Yeah.
I mean, if it also came with every random
with every other
Marvel animated series.
Yeah, so I guess the question is... Well,
this is the Disney app, right? I mean, but it's also Star Wars and Disney and all sorts of other stuff, so... Yeah,
So let's hope all the shows are great, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's all about subscribers. Even if the shows are great, if they don't get subscribers, what do? I mean, they're not going to do this indefinitely. Yeah, they could move the shows to CW or another pay channel. They could put the stuff on their website.
I mean,
didn't Runaways came off Hulu for season 1? And didn't they have it on Runaways? They had on not. I was going to say CW, not CW. Freeform. The first season of Runaways was on Freeform. So it's possible that they could take these off and put them on CW as filler shows down the road, or...
I had no clue that made it to Freeform.
Yeah, I actually was going to try to record it, but because it's technically not new, my TiVo was like, I don't know how to record this because it's not a new show, so I'll just record every episode 90 times because they just repeat it. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just guess Hulu eventually. But yeah, we don't know the long-term plan. But yes, this Saturday, DC Universe launches. If you're around, come check it out here. We'll have it at the store. And one of the other cool features on it, too, is for the comic app, you can go panel by panel, and there's an autoplay feature. So I'm totally just going to put that on here at the store, pull up, a cool comic run, panel by panel, full screen. There's some bugs. Like I can't get it to really full screen properly. Like I can do it on like my monitor, but I can't do it on the TV for some reason. There's a couple weird. Hopefully that all gets.
So I have. There's a few ways I could see this going. I could see this starting because a lot of what I do with my binge watching and subscribing to stuff, and you've seen this with some other stuff where they start on purely their own app, but then they get added to sort of like a Prime channel that could get added. That's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting it's going to start completely on its own. And
they'll be available on DVD and Blu-ray down the road.
Well, I'm just saying, once it becomes a subscription service that you can get through other services, I also think it will be a little more attractive. Because that's one of the things I really like about, like, even the CBS for like Star Trek, you can add as a Amazon channel to your Prime and that stuff.
Okay.
So a lot of these sort of subscriptions have their like. But get it separate or get it as part of your...
But it's in addition to that, right?
Yeah, it's the same price, but that way you'll suddenly have the compatibility with anything that plays Amazon.
I mean, I love the idea of something like HBO Go, which I access because I have a Comcast account, right? I mean, I have cable, so...
Well, but even with like HBO, you can add that as a channel to Amazon and just use the Amazon Video app, and that way you... Because my biggest issue right now with the DC streaming service, and this is without it out yet or anything, is... I can't add it to my PlayStation to play it. I can't add it to my...
They said those are coming.
Oh, I know those are coming.
But that's the thing, I obviously I wish this was just part of my Comcast account because then it'd be free, right? It's just like HBO Go. And since CBS All Access, to the best of my knowledge, is not available. You can't use like a Comcast account to log in. So you have to pay for those. And then there's going to be more and more of these coming. I don't think they're... I don't.
Well, I'm just saying a lot of these services have a backbone of like the Amazon.
Right. Their data, their hosting stuff. Yeah.
And that seems to make it really easy for a lot of these services to eventually plug into.
Well, I'm sure Amazon wants. We want to control your viewing habits here, right? Because we can push you to Prime and we can push you to.
Well, yeah, but I guess all I'm basically saying is. I still haven't added the CBS for Star Trek, but when I do, I'm not subscribing to all these services individually anymore. I just add and remove them through Amazon as I need them.
As you need them. Yeah.
Like even BritBox and stuff you can get through Amazon.
Oh, cool. So. Yeah, I've been messing around with too much of that because, again, I don't need most of it because I have cable, but then the ones that I do, I haven't really dealt with. So this is the only one I've done outside of it.
At this point, I hate the idea of adding and removing channels to Comcast because they make it a lot harder.
Well, no. So, like, I do the triple play, so I just have everything. Right?
I know.
And that there's no adding or removing. It's just everything but the sports channels comes with it.
I'm just saying in general.
But these are in addition to it. Oh, yeah. No, I would never. No. If the price wasn't right for the triple play, I wouldn't even bother because it's such a pain in the ass dealing with their...
Yeah.
Adding
versus
and subtracting channels.
Amazon, it's really, really easy to just be like, add this, remove this, add this, remove this.
Well, if you're a Prime member in Amazon, it was like, an extra $1 for CBS All Access, then okay, maybe I'd do that. But I'm like,
well, no, it's always whatever the subscription. Like there's no additional fee because it's on. But as I said, my main thing is adding those channels so it just becomes part of your like video account.
Yeah.
Makes it really easy to just watch when you want and then remove and add something else.
Yeah.
So that's my prediction. My prediction is eventually DC will get added as part of that too.
Yeah, I think
drum
that's
up additional subscriptions and that kind of stuff. And I think that's once it gets on more devices, I'll be happy because right now, even though I'm subscribed to it, I don't have anything that's currently hooked up to my TV that would play it.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with that.
So the Disney apps won't work on Amazon anytime soon, I don't think.
Probably unlikely.
Because none of the Disney movies are pre-order.
Yeah. Disney and Amazon's having some tiff right now. Mm-hmm. Let's see what's up.
If you couldn't do Infinity War, you couldn't do Black Panther.
You still can't.
You couldn't.
So I don't.
No, you can order them.
No, they're not available. Black Panther, I think now is.
I got Black Panther over.
Infinity War isn't. Still isn't. Nope.
Yeah, because I looked up Ant-Man and Wasp.
So what I'm curious is, I know the digital code you redeem inside the discs and that stuff. At least last time I looked, you could link to your Amazon account, so you could watch those movies through like the Prime Video stuff. Because I did that.
The Disney Anywhere stuff linked through Amazon. Huh? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
well,
you could link your account.
Yeah.
You could link your Disney account to Amazon, Google, iTunes.
And that way they just appear in your Prime Video section without any additional app needed or anything like that. Cool. See? I'm just pimping Amazon this.
Well, we're talking about
any more money.
We're talking about Doom Patrol, and there was a couple bigger casting things happen while we were gone. I don't think we talked about both of these. Brendan Fraser is going to be Robot Man.
That one we did talk about.
Oh, we did talk about that. Okay. Because I just have a bunch of notes here. Okay, well, the other one is Alan Tudyk is going to be cast as the big villain in Doom Patrol,
amazing.
And that is Mr. Nobody. So, which, if you've read Morrison's Doom Patrol, Mr. Nobody's a pretty cool villain.
There's also Timothy Dalton, right? Timothy Dalton
is the chief. Is the chief. Yeah. Right. Oh, maybe that's the one I meant to grab. Sorry. They're not, there's a bunch of kind of unknowns for the Titans show. They're getting some names for Doom Patrol, so they're throwing money at this. Very interesting. We'll see where they go with it. I mean, Doom Patrol is such a weird show. It's going to be so weird, hopefully. And I'm very happy that they're willing to give this a shot. Obviously,
I don't think you can do Morrison's Doom Patrol for the general TV watching or streaming audience.
Yeah.
I think you kind of have to, even though it's got, what does he call? Is he Nowhere Man?
Yeah, Mr. Nobody.
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah.
Nowhere Man's the song.
Yeah.
I think you kind of have to find an anchor kind of somewhere between the classic team version and Morrison's version.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's still a thing that has to be made. It can't be a comic books just don't work, right? As like live action. The Morrison's Doom Patrol would not translate directly to a usable television show, but taking those elements, and working with them in something.
I mean, it's
realistic.
Almost like an X-Files with a team.
Yeah.
The Silver Age version.
The old stuff. Yeah.
And then the Morrison, you've got like the Dada Brotherhood, right? And the Crazy Jane.
Yeah.
Is that
Danny the Street? I need Danny the Street to come back or to come into the show.
I guess
he's a living street.
Mentality on a lot of this is there's a lot of things I would say they couldn't get away with doing or they wouldn't do, but then I watch a show like Legion and how much I love Legion, and I would have said the same thing for a lot of what they do in that show.
Again, no clue.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to just talk about it in a vacuum with having seen no footage, even photos or anything.
Yeah, I think there was some photo of Robot Man, like kind of what the costume looks like and everything. And so it's Brendan Fraser is not like in the suit; he does like the voiceover. And I don't know how much we're gonna get Alan Tudyk actually in the show because Mr. Nobody's like a black like ink blob thing. Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna have like a human persona, right? That they're gonna kind of deal with more regularly.
How many members, or if we'll get all members of Doom Patrol in the Titans episode?
I mean, I think all of them. I don't know if the villain's going to show up, but they're being introduced in an episode of Titans.
Well, yeah, it's depending on how they do the introduction, it doesn't necessarily have to be the entire group.
Yeah.
But no. So, I mean, in theory, 2 months from now, we'll get our first glimpse, or 2.5 months, 3 months.
Yeah, really soon. Yeah. So, Robot Man, Negative Man, Elastigirl, Crazy Jane, and the Chief. Yeah. That's the team. So, we'll see.
These are crazy times.
So how about all those CW shows starting up in October?
Very soon. I did want to. I know Charlie had.
I've been trying to take advantage of no CW shows being on right now.
Same here. I'm almost done with Jessica Jones season 2, and because of Iron Fist season 2 just started, I figure I might as well actually finish Iron Fist season 1. So I'm going to try to finish that off in the next couple weeks.
That's okay. After I finish The Gifted, it's on to Luke Cage season 2, and then Iron Fist season 2.
But one show we haven't talked about at all, and Charlie, I did want to hear your thoughts on this. You finished watching the first season of Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah.
Hit me. I want to hear about this.
It was good.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I liked a lot of the side story stuff they did too with the female cop and such in the show. That was interesting. It's very different. And now, mind you, I'll be the first one to admit that my knowledge of Cloak and Dagger is very, very limited compared to a lot of like other characters.
Yeah.
But I really liked the way they kind of handled the characters in this. I don't know how much into spoiler territory.
Yeah, whatever. Right.
But they kind of start with this big traumatic event that kind of explains how they got their powers and that kind of thing. And
I'm trying to remember in the comics, it's like a drug bust or something gone wrong. Is that?
Yeah, I think you're right.
So the way they handled.
I'm trying to remember what
happened.
happened.
So in the show, they kind of had this oil rig that was sort of pumping this unknown substance from underneath the ground, and it didn't have the proper safety protocols. So when that explosion happened, Dagger was driving with her like father across a bridge and ended up in the water. And then the Cloak was like at this harbor area where his brother got shot and dove in the water after him. And during this big cataclysmic event, they got washed over with the energy and whatnot. And one of them obviously took in sort of the power of light and hope, and the other one kind of was shadow and fear. But then they get sort of separated for, I don't even know, 10 years or something like that after that. Okay. So they're kind of dealing with their own trauma.
Yeah, it's very different from the comics. Yeah, look it up in the comics. Yeah, they were basically street kids that were kidnapped and experimented on with like superpower drugs, and that gave them
this
powers.
Is very, very different. They both kind of follow their own paths up until the point when fate kind of brings them back together and they realize they're connected.
Yeah.
And through the show, like that connection grows stronger, and there's a lot of stuff. But it was good. I liked a lot of the threads. I liked how you kind of had two separate stories going on that would kind of interweave back and forth.
Yeah.
Because they didn't like immediately go, we're together, we're going to tackle everything together. Like Dagger had her story and Cloak had his story.
Yeah.
And then periodically, because of events in the show, they would weave back into each other's story and out again and such.
Yeah, I mean, part of the thing in the comic, too, is they're pretty connected.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, so...
Like, you pretty much, if you see one, the other one's there.
It's very rare that they have them separate, so it's weird if they would... That would be such a big part of the show.
No, but it was... They definitely play up the fact that they have a connection now, and they play up the fact that they are stronger together. Like a lot of the stuff that comes up in the show, they really need each other to work through, even if it's sort of something Cloak's doing or something Dagger's doing at the time. And no, I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would, which is always good. So, I was enjoying it quite a bit.
Cool.
And now I'm on the Gifted.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll hear your thoughts on Gifted too when you're finished. I think I talked about it briefly when I finished watching it. I really like season 1, so I'm definitely excited to keep watching that. Kevin, I want your take on this because we haven't talked about this really on the podcast, and although it's come and gone since our last recording, I still want to talk about it. Black Panther, the movie, and the Oscars, and the now defunct most popular film category. So this was announced that the Oscars were going to add a most popular film category, not best picture, just most popular. And of course that led to lots of really confused comments from people on the internet like, what, why would you even do this? Now I had a theory, and tell me what you think, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. You know, we've all had, you know, Oscar So White over the last couple of years, and then legitimately trying to fix that, huh?
He's gold, isn't he?
What? Oh, I get it. See Bryce's eyes just rolling in his head.
Brock Sager quotes.
Clearly, Black Panther was a big movie, right?
No.
And they've tried so many times, you know, a lot of superhero stuff they push for nominations, and it's very rare that it happens, you know. I mean, except for movies like Suicide Squad, which clearly deserve their Oscar nominations, right? Just waiting for the laughter. Okay.
You're going to cut in the laugh track right there.
Yeah, waiting for Bryce's eye rolls. Okay,
exactly.
Okay.
I'm just picturing the groans and all that from
the Academy Award-winning Suicide Squad. Just dropping that right there. So I've two ways that I've seen this going. One, the Oscars are on ABC. ABC is owned by Disney. Disney superhero movies and their big, tend to get no Oscar recognition. Most popular would guarantee them at least a couple nominations, more than likely a win as well. But the second part is legitimately, I think, Black Panther, right? And I mean, I don't know. I don't hate to say this. I think it's the truth. I don't think there's a chance in hell Black Panther would win Best Picture. It could get like a token nomination, but I don't think there is a chance in hell that the Academy would give it to Black Panther. I just don't think, not that I don't think it deserves this. That's not what I'm trying to say. I don't think they would. I just don't think it would ever happen, right? I don't think any superhero movie would ever get. It's rare to get a nomination. It'll never happen to win.
Superhero movies can get nominations in the subcategories like music.
Black Panther should absolutely win for best costume.
Well,
right?
The expansion of the Best Picture nominee list to 10 from 5 was widely seen as a response to The Dark Knight from the year before.
Right. And to kind of like...
Yeah. Like,
we'll give it a nod, but...
Right. And how many superhero movies have you seen nominated since it went to 10?
None.
0.
Right.
And so that's not the, I'm using air quotes here, solution.
Right.
The only way Oscars make money, because it's not a money making, they don't sell tickets at the door.
Right.
Is television advertising.
Right.
And then print advertising and such for winners after the fact.
Yep.
How do you make ads for TV more viewers? One of the most watched Oscar telecasts, and it might still have the record, I don't know, I'm not enough of an Oscar historian, was the 1997 ceremony where you had Titanic, Good Will Hunting, and LA Confidential all. Now, obviously, Titanic's the biggest known of all of those, but it was like... Those were all Best Picture nominees on a list of 5. That was the popular Oscar show.
Yeah.
And I think they are desperately trying to get back to that. You see the presenters every year, and we're going way off the Black Panther topic.
No, this is what I want
But you see the presenters who come out to give awards, you see a lot of 20-something-year-old actors. Yeah. Those people wouldn't have even been allowed on the stage 20 years ago. I'm not saying they're because they're not talented. I'm just saying the Oscars was a regal... gentlemen and gentlewoman's like upscale country club ceremony, and the Golden Globes is where they serve booze, and it's got the younger...
The MTV Movie Award, the Black Panther will win Best Movie, right?
And a lot of people on the Oscar stage now presenting awards would have at one time been relegated to the MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah.
Why are they suddenly on the Oscars? Because you want more people tuning in a advertising desirable demographic, which is, for better or worse, 18 to 34. So, a Best Popular Films category, imagine we've got, I don't know how many in the slot, we've got Black Panther versus A Star is Born versus whatever else happens to be in it. Now suddenly you have...
Well, it would just be IMDb's, or it would be Box Office Mojo's top 5 movies. It would be Infinity War, Black Panther, Incredibles 2 other movies, and then Infinity War would win. Black Panther wouldn't even win that award, right? I mean, the most popular movie of the year is Infinity War. It's like no question asked.
But see, so Black Panther winning or not winning either the real Best Picture, so to speak, or the Best Popular Picture has no bearing on Black Panther's...
It's not Best Popular Picture.
It's Best Achievement in Popular Film.
Most popular.
Okay.
Which there's no other way to guarantee... There's no other way to judge most popular than most profitable, which is Infinity War. Period.
But Black Panther doesn't need an Academy Award to boost its box office or its popularity. It wouldn't matter if it won or didn't win. What you're after is, with this category, is you want people to tune in who have a rooting interest, who haven't seen fill in the blank of the quote-unquote Oscar bait movie, but have seen Black Panther. All you want is eyeballs on televisions.
Right.
What ultimately wins is irrelevant.
Just true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well...
And when do you stick that category? Right before Best Picture?
I don't know.
How do you keep...
Because we've got a Best Animated Film, too.
Because if
the only thing I would be curious about, because most of the time when these movies get nominated or shortly thereafter, they all end up back in theaters for a limited run.
Yeah.
You would also have sort of the advantage of bringing some of those popular movies back into theaters for...
They could do it just to do it, right? I mean,
they do it just to do it anyways.
They just put Incredibles 2 back in the theater for Labor Day, and it's like, why? Why not?
I'm just saying that always sort of spurs that Emmy season at the movies.
Yeah. Well, I think what Kevin said about, the 1997, Oscar ceremony, how, most watched, all that stuff, and like that's the height. But I think since then, the Academy has done so many things that most people are like waiting. They're like, okay, this movie should be in it. Why is this movie not in it? Right? They've done it so many times since then.
But this is a conversation I've had with Ryan Scott over in the Geek Box so many times. The Oscars are not for anyone at this table. They're not for anyone listening to this podcast. They're not for 99.9% of the population of America. Like this is an industry award for themselves, and like it's meaningless what happens in it. Now, if they want to be a profitable, they could do 10 Oscars a year, and it could be the Teen Choice Oscars, and it could be the they can do all these weird categories and do them all the time if they want to be this big profitable event. It should just be the Academy, and I mean, I'm sure they're raking in tons of cash a year long from all their they could do parties or
and AMPAS does a lot more than just the Oscars, so it's not like they're a nonprofit charity that's just depending on the Oscars. My point is the Academy Awards themselves, the only revenue that generates is ad revenue.
Right.
From either TV commercials or, again, re-releases, or you can plaster on the DVD box 12 Oscar nominations. And somebody will go, well, I wasn't going to watch this before, but now that I got 12 nominations. So just try to imagine the person going, I had no interest in seeing Black Panther. I don't like superhero movies. Oh, well, wait. It's got a Best Popular Film nomination? Well, now I'm going to check it out. See, that will never happen.
But when I think the people even the people that are like the real people that are watching the Oscars because they're like the film snobs, or the people that are there, or not the actors necessarily, but the real like Hollywood people. Most popular is just like the worst thing they want to hear. It's like the Oscars has a history of kind of being like, oh, what's the popular movie? We're going to give it to the other one, right? It's like they really do kind of. It seems to go
with exceptions like Titanic,
of course.
And since that was that weird crossover where you had Best Achievement in Popular Film also be the Best Picture nominee.
Well, so, Lord of the Rings too, right? I mean, that won a ton of awards that one year.
Well, the thing is, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship came out, and it won tons of awards.
Oh, Fellowship didn't.
No, Fellowship.
No, it was Return of the King that won everything.
No, Return of the King won because Fellowship didn't really win anything. Two Towers didn't really win anything.
They were waiting to the end.
And they were like waiting till the end, so people were like, but there was things that Fellowship did and Two Towers did that they should have gotten the awards for,
but not for Best Picture. I mean,
no, not Best Picture.
That's, and that's sort of where this all leads to. I mean, there's a shitload of awards. They're even going to like. Did I read this correctly? That they're even going to take more awards off
and present
television.
them either at commercials,
right,
or at a they have a ceremony for the scientific and technical awards.
Stuff, and they're going to get.
But who knows? Because now who knows if that plan is because one of the things was they said we want a hard cap of a 3-hour telecast.
Right.
Advertisers again, it's money.
Yeah.
A 3-hour telecast is an easier sell for you to place your ad than it may be 3.5, it may be 4, and you don't know where your ad's going to come in.
Yeah.
If you know it's cutting off at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
As an example, and your ad's coming in right before the Best Picture envelope is opened, well, you're going to be cutting a serious check more than you'd be cutting a check right before Best Editing 2 hours earlier.
Right. Yeah. And this all goes back to Black Panther, right? I don't think it would get a nod. I don't think it would get a top 10 nod. It would definitely get a nod for most popular picture, but again, I don't think it would win that either. So, I feel like a lot of this is directed specifically at Black Panther. I'll be curious if it. I think it'll get nominations. I think it absolutely should win for costume, unless there's something that I don't know about. Unless there's some movie comes out towards the end of the year, or maybe there's some indie film that I've missed. But I mean, the costume design of Black Panther was incredible. Mm-hmm. If it's going to win anything, it could win that easily, right?
It's not going to win for CG.
Special effects should go to, if it's going to go to anything, should go to Infinity War over Black Panther.
We know where Marvel spent their
money.
But,
Infinity War, no question. I mean, best CG in any movie to date, regardless of movie, regardless of genre. I don't think. Thanos is above and beyond any full CG character we've seen in any movie. I don't think there's. I don't think it's a character
you think Deadpool 2
could beat it.
Family film, best family film.
Well, I mean, in terms of the CG, I'm just thinking it's been a long time since I've watched Avatar, but
throw Avatar in a ditch. God, fuck that movie.
Well, but the thing is that movie is one of those
3 more chapters.
It's never going to happen.
See, I don't care if they do more chapters. I don't, but I will say this.
And I'm sure the CG in Avatar looks like garbage now because it's been 10, 15 years or something.
It's hard to say though because
it didn't look good at the time.
Most movies spend Most movies do not spend a lot of time on the CGI, as far as I can tell. A lot of them kind of have this is the release date, this is how much time we have, or throw money at animation studios.
Infinity War did, yeah. Well, did you also watch the credit for Infinity Wars? They had 19 studios working on that movie. They called in everyone in Hollywood to work on that.
And that's one of the sort of disadvantages I see a lot of times of heavy CG movies is you can tell it's like, okay, if they had a lot more time to work on this, they could have polished it a lot more. But because of the time,
the credits for those Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
Well, see, what you're also talking about, though, with both of those is what works against it when you say, oh, it should automatically win Best Effects, Infinity War.
Yeah.
Well, you've got 19 studios, so who are you going to single out as the person who's nominated?
800 people walk on stage.
Well, you're not going to read 800 names, so you're going to have to boil it down to
Disney Animation or whatever is the parent company that employed all of these people, right? So yeah. Marvel Studios Animation, yeah.
So it's like a head guy and then the people he invites.
Well, I mean that's how it works, right? I mean they don't. It's not like these companies. They're not owned by Disney. Disney contracts out to these companies and says, "We need lots of help. Work on Thanos' left leg for 6 months, please. We need this." And Infinity War 2, Avengers 4, whatever it's going to be called. But I can't believe that movie's out not that long from now when we don't know the name of it. That's so fucking weird.
We haven't even gotten a trailer.
It would be so cool.
Just nothing.
No trailer. No. They're just a black poster with Avengers the End or whatever it's called. Yeah. No stills.
If they put disassembled on that thing, I'm fucking done.
Just like that cracked A with the They could, right? If any movie could.
I'm just wondering if they could get away with not announcing it. I would not be surprised if that gets put at like the end credits of Captain Marvel. Just the name of
the name of it. Yeah, sure.
Just make that the after credits scene. Okay. Just the announcement of the
movie that's coming out in like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Good transition. Captain Marvel. We saw our Captain Marvel costume. We also saw the Skrulls performing their classic Christian rock band cover shot. I love it. Just standing in the ocean waves, just looking out,
waiting for the cows.
Waiting for Jesus. Just Who knew the Skrulls were Christian rock band?
Ronan's back.
Huh?
Ronan's back.
Yeah, that's cool. I like Ronan. Ronan's funny. He's a dickhead. He's all right. Captain Marvel looks
Lee
cool.
Pace. Glad to see Lee Pace working.
Yeah, I think Captain Marvel costume looks good. And I know there were some shots from Entertainment Weekly that also had her in like the green suit, right? Or other Kree guys in the green suit. So, yeah, the costumes looked good in some of the promo art we've seen. And the costume looks good on her. Like, I don't know what else you would do. It looks like Captain Marvel. I know some people wanted the faux hawk thing.
Oh, God.
I'm fine with the hair she's got. It's cool. I don't need the faux hawk from the comics. She looks cool. And the Skrulls look cool. They look fine. They're maybe the most nitpicky of nitpicky. They're a little dull color wise. I like my green ass
like
Skrulls.
Bright. You want the Skrull skin to be like the color of that Rick and Morty teleporting.
I do like my green Skrull, but that's
they just need to turn into cows at some point.
That is the joke going around. So the first appearance of the Skrulls in the comic books, if people don't know what this is,
this is FF number 2.
It's Reed Richards, right? He creates this like hypnotizing device that hypnotizes them and turns them into cows. Yeah. They never bring this up again until many years later when Grant Morrison and Mark Miller said...
no, it's in the Kree Skrull War.
that's right. They're right.
Where the Vision comes staggering into the mansion and goes, 3 cows shot me down.
Yeah, that's right. So they do that. And then years later is when Grant Morrison and Mark Miller said, by the way, so I guess it was like the one extra cow, right? Like the fourth, is it the fourth? Is it the one doesn't get turned back or something like that? I think
that's right.
Yeah. It was fed to it was gone to a slaughterhouse, and this Skrull cow was turned into hamburger, and people ate this Skrull hamburger, and now they can see Skrulls, and they became the Skrull Kill Crew, which they pop up from time to time in comics. A really funny idea. I really like that. Yeah. So the joke here, of course, is they end the movie by turning the Skrulls into cows. Now, I'm going to actually jump ahead to a question here because it specifically references what we're talking about.
3 cows?
The Skrulls. The Skrulls and the cows. Let me find it. It's here somewhere. It's about the what our thoughts of post Avengers 4. Here we go. This is from Steven. He says, this is his post Avengers 4 idea. The Thanos threat is resolved, and Captain Marvel tells our heroes some of them may be Skrulls. Right. Secret Invasion, right? The comic Secret Invasion. Which Avengers could be Skrulls, and when were they switched? So here's his question. We should answer this. And I've got at least 2 answers, and that's Thor and Hulk, and that's right before Ragnarok, because fuck that movie, and fuck that interpretation of Thor and Hulk, because that's not what they were like in the other movies. So clearly they're Skrulls.
On that topic, not Ragnarok.
Actually, Hulk was fine, but
Secret Invasion was one of the biggest middle fingers I have felt from Marvel.
Really?
Yes, because there's that. It could have been amazing where that ship crashes and all those heroes come staggering off, and they look like basically their 1970s versions.
Yeah.
And if you had just Bendis, Marvel, whoever the EIC was, had just committed right there and said, every one of these characters since 1975 has been a Skrull.
Yeah.
Wow. That would have been mind-blowingly cool and out there to do. Basically, you've been reading 30 years of stories.
But it wouldn't, but they're never going to do that.
I understand. I just had a moment when that ship opens. For those who haven't read Secret Invasion, a Skrull ship crashes, and all of these Marvel characters come staggering off of it.
Yeah.
And again, they look like they're Bronze Age iterations. It would be like Luke Cage with the afro and the yellow shirt.
Yeah.
And I just thought, if they actually go for this, that would be amazing. Of course.
Yeah.
That was just...
Yeah. Was it Mockingbird that was the one? Is that... there was one... Or
was it Elektra?
Was it?
I remember Elektra, a Skrull with the red...
Yeah.
Well, that's how they kicked off that whole... the Elektra Skrull is the one that they uncovered first.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one character that I think... Actually, I want to say it was Mockingbird because she was dead, right? Mockingbird had been dead for a long time. So I think it was Mockingbird. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone please. But I'm pretty sure it was Mockingbird that was the one that actually was gone this whole time and was a Skrull. But
well, she was gone a long time.
She died at the end of West Coast Avengers or something. She had been gone 15 years at that point.
I remember what I was saying about the biggest middle finger.
Yeah.
It was the quote-unquote Captain Marvel miniseries titled Secret Invasion.
Was stupid.
Where I just yes, I finally get him back.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read this, and then I'm not going to spoil the complete...
It's garbage. Yeah.
BS ending. But so the question was about the Marvel Cinematic Universe doing a Secret Invasion?
Yeah. Could you see any of these characters actually being Skrulls?
Black Widow, because the hair color changed.
Well, but they've explained all that with the whole fugitive thing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems with the movies when you compare it to the comic book is that they're doing this in real time. So a significant amount of time has passed since the first Iron Man movie, right? And in Infinity War, they're like, yep, it's sure been 2 years. We've just been off doing stuff. In the comic books, we see that time pass, right? Time just happens, and we see every element of these characters' lives. In the movies, 2 years go by, and we're like, I guess they were hanging out and nothing happened for 2 years.
They were in that Sherpa place.
And now, what?
Shawarma.
And now,
it starts with
and now the characters are back. So an event happens, right? The movie's back. So like that is the difficult nature of the movies compared to the comics. So, you know,
who would be your one?
One?
Yeah. Like
See, I would probably cheat.
It's just harder because there's so few, right?
Well,
in the cinematic universe.
Yeah.
So, given that some amount of time is supposed to happen between the Avengers 3 and 4, I would probably just do the swap out at some point during that one. Because we also don't know how Tony Stark's going to get back to Earth. We don't know how. So, I mean, they could go for a...
Well, Nebula didn't go. Nebula didn't disappear.
No, she didn't disappear, but...
Sure, and Tony.
I'm trying to think. So, we know Tony's ship crashed.
Well,
we know Thanos teleported in there.
Well, when people come back, that would be the time to do it, right?
Yeah.
That, Spider-Man comes back, except, oh, no, it's a Skrull. It took the place of Spider-Man. Right?
No, they wouldn't do anybody with a current movie.
I'm not saying that specifically. I'm just saying.
Well, no, I'm just saying
that's how you do it.
Do you mean the Spider-Man who died was a Skrull?
No. What Charlie says is you replace them. So when the characters start coming back, because obviously they're all going to come back, you can just say these characters were captured and we never actually saw them return. They did return, but they were captured by the Skrulls, and they've now been Skrulls post the return.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll go with Bucky.
I mean, it'd be weird. I don't think it would work if they say any of the characters that exist right now are Skrulls as of Infinity War.
Yeah.
I don't think there would... I mean, I guess you can work on whatever, but...
That guy that in the Iron Fist was a Skrull.
Iron Fist?
Yeah, the Iron Fist guy is a
Iron
Skrull.
Fist himself?
So derpy in his first
Yeah, that's why he's not good at martial arts in the first
season.
season.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah, I mean, again, I think this would all come post, right? I mean, the whole movie would be... I think the Secret Invasion movie would be they get replaced then, and you figure it out during the movie. I don't think it would make too much sense to have characters in any of these existing movies.
They would have to have characters in these existing movies that were already replaced, but chances are they would be not main characters. They would be these members of... These characters you saw in Black Panther who were not big characters. Yeah. You would use these agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatnot that turned out to be Hydra agents were actually Skrulls.
Another season, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could pretend to tie in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe by saying half the team have been Skrulls this whole time.
And somehow Coulson wasn't one.
We got some comic book stuff we'll want to talk about here, and then we'll do a handful of questions. Wow. Yeah, actual comic book talk.
Holy crap.
Again, I'd like to have Kevin here when we talk about some of these creators because he's a little more into the old school stuff. We've had more than a fair share of comic book creators pass away recently, and we have to add two more to that list. Gary Friedrich, co-creator of, most people will know, is Ghost Rider. He worked for Marvel and DC for a number of years. He worked on Blue Beetle, X-Men, Captain America, Nick Fury, Black Widow. Did the Captain Britain comic in the UK, but Ghost Rider kind of his big solo creation. He passed away. He actually had a big lawsuit with Marvel too about the rights and ownership of Ghost Rider when the movies were coming out. So he'd been in the news quite a bit the last few years.
We talked about that when it was happening.
I believe also, correct me if I'm wrong, the co-creator of, not even joking here, one of my other top favorite Marvel characters, which is Son of Satan. I think that's a Gary Friedrich.
Could be. I mean, he first appeared in Ghost Rider, right? So didn't Son of Satan first appear in Ghost Rider?
We're caught flat-footed here.
Well, you're the one that brought up the thing without
I don't know when he first appeared.
Use your smartphone.
Damian Hellstrom. Yeah, it's Ghost Rider number 1. Yep. Yeah, he first appeared in Ghost Rider. Yep. So, yeah, he would be created by him as well. Yeah, I like that character.
I love that character.
Why?
It's just cool, and I would love to see that on a Netflix.
He's like Marvel's Lucifer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other big one that I know a lot of people had a lot of good things to say about, a lot of praise. Marie Severin passed away, who was a very, very long time artist, but I think most well known as a colorist for Marvel through most of the 60s and I want to say into the 70s. I think at least early 70s. She also co-created Spider-Woman. Did some writing for Marvel and DC. Marvel and EC Comics, not DC. EC.
Yeah, Marie Severin, I think you guys talked about Russ Heath.
Yeah.
I would kind of put Marie Severin and Russ Heath in the same category in that they're not household names. They don't have a style like a Neil Adams or a Steve Ditko where you can look and go, that's clearly a cover by this person. They're solid and dependable and just consistent. And I know that sounds almost like denigrating them. They're not flashy.
Yeah.
They're reliable.
Well,
it's like house art.
She colored
house art to be.
I mean, she was a colorist on a lot of those classic Marvel comics in the 60s and 70s. So, she was involved in a lot of that.
But anybody can just Google Marie Severin cover, and you will see some Marvel covers go like, wow, I never knew who the artist was of that, but I know that cover.
Yeah.
She really had her fingerprints all over more late 60s Marvel than earlier Silver Age, late 60s into the 70s. Yeah, and the same with Russ Heath. Kubert is obviously the famous one from that class of artists, but Russ Heath did so many covers and so many interiors, and just like a reliable machine is the wrong word, but a reliable output of material.
Like I love oh my god, I just blanked on his name. Nick Fury and the X-Men did a couple X-Men covers. Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Please.
Stranko?
Thank you. Stranko, thank you. I love Stranko. Name just wasn't coming to me. I love Stranko. He did almost nothing, right? Yeah. So his body of work is tiny. Some of these people, you think of Kirby. Understandable. Kirby's his own kind of beast. Some of these people that worked at Marvel and DC did just thousands of pages or hundreds of covers, and they're not going to get the love. What's the guy that did a lot of the Hulk run? Like years and years of Hulk, and he basically did every Marvel book. It's terrible. I wish I had.
Are you talking about Sal?
Sal Buscema?
Yeah.
No, there was another guy that this is not coming to me. I'll think
Herb
about it.
Trimpe?
Herb Trimpe, yes, thank you. He's another. I think he's one of those guys that gets kind of like shat on a little bit.
But he's in the Marie Severin.
Yeah,
Russ Heath
he's just such a mass of work.
Yeah.
Just an incredible body of work. But he's not Stranko. He's not Kirby. He's not John Romita. He's not these big names that were at Marvel at the time. So I think he kind of gets like, he's all right. But he did so much of it. So
it's like when you think of the foundation of Marvel, people go Stan Lee, Ditko, and Kirby.
Yeah.
Well, Don Heck did as much work as Ditko did in that time.
Oh, probably more, right? Didn't he? He did a ton of stuff.
Yeah, but just saying, when you're talking about the building blocks of that company in the Silver Age, nobody mentions Don Heck.
Yeah.
And I remember using to get those reprints and going, and you see this like awesome like dynamic Kirby cover, and then you'd open and go,
it's Don Heck.
Don Heck.
But someone has to do the art, right? I mean, someone has to do
the 70s equivalent would be like Dick Dillon on the Justice League, where you get these Neil Adams covers, and then there's Dick Dillon or Irv Novick on the inside. And
they weren't. It's not that they were bad.
They're not bad.
They just weren't.
They're just not dynamic.
Yeah.
They're just solid. Like the kind of art you'd see in a comic strip in a newspaper. So it doesn't. Steranko is legendary because his work, quote unquote, changed the art form, and it jumps off the page. Neil Adams with photorealism was a brand new thing. Marie Severin was just a reliable comic book artist.
Yeah. Which again is 99% of comics.
Yeah.
Right. You remember the ones that stand out. You remember those ones that kind of break the ground, but most of these books, even to today, are done by people that will be forgotten in history, right? So even though they've produced, some of these people have produced, like I said, thousands, if not tens of thousands of pages of written work or artwork. But yeah.
And I mean, I'd rather, if I'm an editor-in-chief of a company, I'd rather have a Dick Dillon in my bullpen who cranks out a monthly title every month on deadline than a Steranko where I might get a book every 4 months and have to desperately scramble for fill-in issues by a Dick Dillon in between the late issues.
Right. No, I agree. One last little news story here before we get some questions. Those DC Comics at Walmart seem to be pretty popular, even though they're not on shelves and they don't exist and they get completely trashed and nobody can seem to find them. And so I guess they're doing well enough. DC's going to add a few more. They're going to do a new Flash series, and there's going to be a Swamp Thing horror one-shot and a holiday one-shot, which I'm assuming those will be reprints. There's supposed to be another ongoing comic series starting next year sometime, but they have not said what. They just said there's going to be a sixth title. There's been a lot of talk in the retailer forums about this, and we talked about this when it came out. Honestly, if you're a comic book fan, if you're a comic book store guy and you're here or girl, and you're here every Wednesday, look, you don't have to go to Walmart to find this stuff. Just wait. The collected editions will hit comic book stores in a much better format. You don't want a 100-page reprint, or you don't want 88 pages of reprints with 12 pages of original story. You definitely don't want to have to go hunting these at Walmart. It's cool that they're doing this. I'm actually really surprised they're adding more to it. I would have bet the store that they would have barely got the 12 out and canceled the entire thing. We'll see. But yeah, I wouldn't even go looking for these if I were you. And this isn't me saying no, come to the comic store. These are very hard to find. Walmart does not know how to stock them. They're stocked by a third company. The pictures I've seen of the condition they're in, the availability is almost non-existent.
Well, it's not even in every Walmart. It's in only 3,000.
It's in select Walmarts. Yeah. If you're used to walking into your comic book store on Wednesday and getting all your favorite new comics, this is going to be this is hunting for that super rare variant cover that nobody has, right? I mean, this is not what you're looking for.
Well, this is they've in a way, for good and bad, recreated the spinner rack days.
But it's not. But it's not,
the
right?
Of the books would be better if they were on a spinner rack.
It's thrown into a cardboard dump. If it's even still at the store, it's shoved in a corner somewhere. Maybe they come out on specific days, except they don't. They come out whenever Walmart puts them out, right? So yeah, this isn't. If there was legitimately a DC Comics spinner rack that was in a uniform place in every Walmart that was stocked well, that'd be one thing. This is 4 copies of a comic thrown in a corner somewhere, and you could find it under half a bag of Doritos that someone left on top of it. And Marvel's been sending out a bunch of combo packs, so they take a bunch of old stuff that they never moved, they throw it up for $5 for 5 comics or whatever. So there's other stuff getting thrown in with these as well. So it's if anything,
remember when Marvel used to do these boxes? They did the box combos.
I mean, every company's done variations on this. The old Whitman comics, right?
3 in a bag.
Yeah,
it was 75 cents for 3 comics.
Yeah, and go to Toys R Us and pick up the bag comics. Yeah, I mean, these remaindered ones have always been around. But to me, the Walmart line, I am not afraid of Walmart taking over our business. If anything, this proves how the big box stores cannot do this properly, and how important the direct market and the comic book stores are. So, because if you walk into a comic book store and this is how they treated their comics, I would hope you would leave that comic book store and then come to Comics Conspiracy in Sunnyvale, California, where I guarantee you our comics are stocked properly and not beat to hell. Maybe some of the kids' comics, because kids.
Well, we talked about when this first started that. Obviously, these are not really trying to target the long-time comic. Yes, people will go out of their way because it's got 12 pages of new content by popular creators and all that. Like most things, I'm just hoping some of them are getting in the hands of new readers.
Sure.
And if it's successful enough to justify doing more, that's kind of actually good news.
Yeah, I just, I want my Tom King Superman story, my Brian Michael Bendis Batman story, and, the Wonder Woman and Teen Titans. So, yeah, I assume, I don't see, unless they're going to release them as miniseries first, which they could, I assume these will come out as original graphic novels you know, in the direct market, in bookstore market, and this will be the preferred format, and these Walmart things will be weird, you know, things that you'll look up in Overstreet occasionally and be like, oh yeah, I remember when they did that. That was kind of funny. And then they look nice. I got the first 4. I got the first issue of all 4 of them. One of my guys brought them in, and I was like, this is cool. Nah, I'm not. I would have no interest in trying to track these down. Yeah, there's just no. To me, there's. I don't. You know, for the comic book fan, there's no appeal here. You know, I love the dollar reprints that Marvel does with their the True Believers. Yeah, those are really cool. And just for casual
DC
people
dabbled with like all the issue 1s or whatever of Rebirth.
They said they were going to do more, but they never did. I don't know what's up with DC.
They're hitting that market, right? The key issue. You know,
well, they're reprinting like the Jeff. Oh, you talking about the True Believers?
The True Believers, like they're hitting those.
Yeah, they're really cool.
So it's cool. It's like, oh look, I can read that Spider-Man 300 issue and not have to spend god awful amounts of money just to buy it, or it's shoved in a trade. I just want to read it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you're really hunting these down, let us know. I'd love to hear the availability in your area. I've heard almost universal. Can't find them, or can find one random one, or totally destroyed. Not going to track them down. I've never had a single person tell me, "Oh yeah, I walk into my Walmart and they're there all the time, and I pick them up and they're always available." And
well, I know some people shop there regularly just as a part of their life, but I'm trying to imagine having to go to Walmart every month to try to track this down, like having that adventure 12 times.
Yeah, what a nightmare.
I mean, if this is like a one-time, a one-shot.
You just do in-store pickup.
They're not. You can't get them online.
Huh?
They're not on the websites.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Because none of the employees can find where the fuck they are.
Well, again, I would like some clarification if someone knows for sure. As far as I know, I believe the situation is this is actually run by a third party that's not Walmart. This is how Target works, where their aisle of baseball cards and Pokemon cards and all that is not actually run by Target. It's run by a third-party company that works with Target and stocks that shelf. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's the same situation with Walmart. So this is not even a product Walmart would. It's not a Walmart product. It's put in their store, but it's not going to appear on their website. It's not coming from their distribution centers, right? It's not something they can ship out even.
So if you walked into a Walmart, where would you go to find this comic? In
the same section with the Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and baseball cards. That's, again, as far as I understand, I don't know if that is 100% accurate. I believe that is the case.
Because I was thinking, would it be with the magazines?
No.
Would it be with toys?
And that's what people think, and that's not where it is. There is a specific aisle, and that's because it's in that aisle, I am therefore assuming it's part of the same deal. I do not know that for sure, but I believe that to be the case. If anyone does know for sure, please let me know. But I believe that's the case. Charlie?
I was just going to say, if it's with like the Pokemon cards, that might be in the toy section.
It's not, though. That's the thing. It's an independent aisle.
Well, no, I'm just saying it used to be in the toy section at places like, because, yes, I go through the toy section at both Target and Walmart when I happen to be there. Yeah. And, yes, in general, there's a separate spot near the registers and stuff at Target with that stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff doesn't normally exist at Walmarts that I've been to. It's normally shoved in the toy area in different packaging.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I don't. It's only at select.
But no, I've never actually seen the comics either.
Yeah, so. No, I've only seen them when people. I don't go to the Walmart, but I've only seen it when people bring them in. All right, we got some questions.
Ooh.
This is from Hoot86.
Hoot
says, what do you guys think of this rumor? Guy Ritchie to direct Captain Britain and the Black Knight. Sure.
Matter.
What? Okay, it's as likely as anything else coming out of the Marvel Studios. I'm trying to shit on this. I think that'd be awesome, but I mean, okay, that's cool. Why not?
If they have Fox, they can bring Excalibur in.
I wonder what they could. I guess Excalibur must technically be an X-Men thing. I would assume it would go with the X-Men books.
I'm trying to imagine the Black Knight, like them putting the money to make the Black Knight as a soul. Or is it Captain Britain and the Black Knight as a team?
It is. It is like in quotes Captain Britain and the Black Knight, which could be a very
one of those funny oddball, odd couple kind of
very
movies.
very very British history team up. Sure. Yeah. Why not? It's not. I mean, at this point with the MCU stuff, there's very little that I would.
Yeah, that seems like one that I know they don't have this business model yet, but I think it would be valuable. The Netflix original movie in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, and people are going to go, well, look at the success of Black Panther. I don't know that Captain Britain and the Black Knight justify the kind of budget you would need to do those well. Whereas I think you could slot them in, not as a Netflix 10 episodes or 13 or whatever they're on now, like a one shot, like an annual, so to speak, on Netflix.
I like that. They should do Black Knight just as like a Highlander reboot. Just straight there. There's from Zach Fig. He says, thoughts on Nightwing's possible new direction? And then a second question about the Marvel's new graphic novels. So this Nightwing thing is taking a bit of a crazy story, crazy turn over the last few days. We talked about this a few weeks back when it was me and Brock. Something big is going on with Nightwing. They released they released a cover of the upcoming issues at
54?
No, it was a 50 or 49. I can't remember what cover they showed. He's basically a completely shaved, or a stubble shaved head with a Nightwing symbol in his head that looks like a surgical scar or something. There was a weird rumor on Bleeding Cool that, this went up yesterday or the day before, that they're scrapping the entire arc or something like that. I don't know what's going on with Nightwing. I have no clue. Again, we've been told some stuff's coming up in Batman, and then Nightwing comes out. I don't know. I love me some Nightwing. Oh, the weird rumor that Bleeding Cool posted today about Nightwing 2 is they're not going to call him Dick Grayson anymore. They're going to be a different name. They're going to start calling him Richard Grayson. No, I knew my Dick. Call him Toby? No. Terrible.
All I heard was I knew my Dick.
Yeah. No, they can call him Richard Grayson as much as they want. A creative team in a couple of years will just call him Dick Grayson again. It's just his name. It's fine. The jokes are part of the character at this point. His name is Dick Grayson. You're not going to change this.
Yeah, because Richard Grayson with an ass like that just doesn't sound right.
It's just not going to... You have 80 years of this character being known as one thing. So, one of my friends posted a great thing on Twitter. He's like, look, DC can have a Captain Marvel and Marvel can have a Captain Marvel. I know 3 guys named Craig, right? It's fine. His name is Shazam, I guess, technically, but I just call him Captain Marvel 9 times out of 10, right? And with a character like Dick Grayson, I can say Richard Grayson, but that doesn't come off. It's that's not his name. His name is Dick Grayson, right? So I have no idea what's going on with Nightwing. And
apparently DC doesn't know either.
And Marvel's new original graphic novels. I bitched about this on Twitter a little bit. I wanna talk about this for a second too. I love the idea that Marvel's trying to do some original. Digital first and then graphic novel and print, but I don't get it. We talked about the Jessica Jones comic a little while ago.
Yeah,
they're doing
you and I talked about this.
Yeah, they're doing an Iron Fist one and a Luke Cage one. To me, replacing a printed ongoing comic series with these oversized digital first and then coming out as an original graphic novel just costs me a bunch of sales, and I'm going to sell a fraction of what I would sell the singles in. So we'd sell about 15 to 20 copies of Jessica Jones monthly. I would sell a handful of copies of the trade paperbacks. I reached out to all my customers to get subscribed to Jessica Jones under Brian Michael Bendis and said, hey, they're going to do the series of original graphic novels for Jessica Jones. Would you like to get them? 2 people said yes. So that is the equivalent. I think I ordered 4. So it's okay, I go from 20 copies plus a handful of the trades to 4 copies of the trades.
2 guaranteed sales.
But it would have been 20, right? It's a tenth of what I would sell.
How much do you think that has to do with the fact that it's not original graphic novels by Bendis? Because that's a character that's closely associated with Bendis.
I think a ongoing Jessica Jones comic, regardless of who's writing it, I could still move 12 to 15 copies, right? Bendis bumps it up, right, because it's Bendis. But I think I would still move a handful, way more than I'm going to sell this original graphic novel. Now, if they want to do a series of original graphic novels in addition to an ongoing series, by all means. But that's not the case. Even the Iron Fist one, which I'd sell 10 or 12 copies of, or Luke Cage, I'd sell 4 or 5. I'm only going to sell 1 or 2 copies of the trade. I don't think these are going to perform amazingly in the bookstore market. I don't see like a rush on these things. They're going to sell what they would sell just without the single issue component. So to me, this is kind of a weird lose-lose for everyone. I'll be really curious if Marvel does any of this past this first batch. I just don't. This isn't Moon Girl that's performing exceptionally well in Scholastic, right? This isn't Miss Marvel that performs abnormally well digitally. These are just going to sell what they sell, and I don't see this working out for them as a replacement. But I mean, I guess whatever. Good luck. I mean, anyone here? I don't. You're not picking up the singles on any of these books anyway, but
to me, it's. I think the problem is that digital and then straight to OGN.
Yeah,
where it's.
And they've done a few of these already.
Yeah, they've done a few
for like bullshit miniseries that nobody read or cared about.
But the thing is like if it was going to a character, if I cared about Jessica Jones. And I was picking it up, then I'd be like, okay, well, I guess I'll get this. But if the first one's not good, I'm like, I don't really want to do this anymore.
I think people do misunderstand the amount of people that are there for the single issues. They're just straight up not going to buy an original graphic novel. I mean, I sell 100 copies of Batman every other week, right? But an original Batman graphic novel, I'm not going to sell 100 copies of. It's just not going to happen, right?
Is it because of the price?
It's because of the price. Yeah, it's because of the price. It's because of the format. I think it's honestly because of the format.
So I have a question, and Batman's a bad example of this, but I want to know. So way back when with the Palmiotti run on Jonah Hex, I'm not saying the Jonah Hex comics sold extremely well but there was an OGN that came out by Palmiotti during that run. There was No Way Out, or I don't remember what it was called. How did that OGN perform for you, considering it was completely targeted to the same market who was buying the ongoing series and all that at the time?
I don't have a specific number in my head. I don't remember it performing better. I think we sold a decent amount of them, right? But I think that's a case where you do have we were only selling a half dozen copies, so it was easy to turn to those people and say, hey, it's the same creative team, it's the same character, it's just a bigger bigger story, right? I probably did not sell as many, but I would have to go look. That was a while ago.
Even with Batman, we had the Dark Prince Charming that came out in the oversized hardcover, 2-volume thing. Yeah, and you sold maybe 12? 10 or 12.
No, I mean, there are some stores that are obviously going to be way more geared towards graphic novel sales, right? But I mean, here it's a fraction. There is not a existing comic book that I've sold more copies of the graphic novel than I have the single issues, short of like Saga Volume 1, Walking Dead Volume 1. Yeah.
So these graphic novels are, what you're talking about would be a collection of stories?
Yeah, what they're doing for Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and all that is they're releasing. It's an ongoing comic book, digitally.
Okay,
that's being released in 3-month, 3-issue chunks of 40 pages. It's a 6-issue book being released as a 3-issue digital series, and then coming out as a printed graphic novel with no single issue component.
Okay.
And then at the end of that time, there was a break, and then another 3 issues digitally of 40 pages with a...
Continuing the same story.
Okay. The creators have come out and said, it's Kelly Thompson, she's the writer, she's like, this is an ongoing monthly comic book, it's just being released in 2 very...
Okay. That helps
unique formats.
Clarify why you thought there... Because I was thinking of, to go in the Wayback Machine...
Yeah.
God Loves Man Kills coming out as a Marvel original graphic novel starring the X-Men while the X-Men was on the racks every month, and there was no question. Like, of course you'd buy that if you buy X-Men. But that
I would really like to see the numbers.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers were. I'm just talking about in my little world.
Well, this comes back to Batman Damned just coming out pretty soon, right? That's a good creative team. It's an oversized magazine format. I'm looking at it like people just don't like this. It will sell. It will sell well. It will not sell as well as if it was a single issue comic book series. That's just flat out the answer. I think DC's doing a disservice.
I love Batman. I'm still hesitant about getting it.
Oh, I'm buying it.
It's your size.
It's format and
Charlie,
size, right?
It's your size.
The single issue, whenever a comic series has gone off from the standard comic size, it suffers. Whether it's Highest House from IDW that releases an oversized format, whether it's some of these books coming from Image that come out as a Golden Age series, kills it dead.
AD.
Sorry, Charlie. Tick. 2000 AD is magazine format. Overseas, nobody cares. Here, can't sell a single copy of it, right? This is just the way. There is something about the American comic industry where people, they look at those formats and they're like, no.
Remember Age of Apocalypse digest size?
Oh, those trades are terrible. No, you get stuff like kids' books. You get other formats. Things like Mouse Guard sells well, but it's selling to a different crowd. I'm talking about your Wednesday superhero comic book readers.
Even those Wednesday comics didn't.
Wednesday comics, I sold a decent amount, but I wonder what everyone did with their copy. Probably threw them in the trash. Well, they fit. Here's the thing with Wednesday comics.
They fit in
a bag and board, right?
They folded it to be almost exactly the size of the
comic. I think it would fit in like a Silver Age. I think it was slightly bigger, but it did fit in their long box. That is the factor. I'm not joking. That is a major factor. Trying to do something unique and interesting is like, I'm going to stand out on the rack. All that does is cause the vast majority of Wednesday customers, the bulk of your superhero focused new release crowd, is to go, no, I'm not buying that. It's weird looking. No. It just happens every single time.
Well,
every time.
Was it Jeff Lemire or Scott Snyder that had that
AD? I would have sold way more if it was comic size.
I didn't buy it.
I
loved Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire. Didn't even touch it.
Yeah.
Those criminal specials?
The magazine formats again. Nope. I mean, I sold a ton of copies of the single issues, or the normal size version, and a handful of the magazine. Yeah, and again, some people don't care, right? Some people don't. No. But I would be very surprised if something like God Loves Man Kills sold equivalent as the single issues at the time.
Oh yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised.
I would just have much more interest in buying God Loves Man Kills as a kind of a cool X-Men bonus story, versus what you were describing, a collection of individual issues, kind of a concurrently running monthly series that's being released in this other format. That doesn't sound that interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised Charlie didn't want that that Galactus book that just came out. Speaking of other size format, they did this treasury size.
Oh, I love me some treasury size. I'll take treasury size anything.
I was tempted, but I also have So I have the king size Kirby. Yeah. I have.
I got a bunch of questions from Brandon. Let's go through this real quick. From Brandon, does Black Canary still wear a wig, or is she a natural blonde now? No, I think modern day Black Canary is blonde. I don't.
The Green Arrow one?
Yeah, I don't think she's blonde. A wig.
No, it's not a wig. She's blonde.
That's like Silver Age.
Yeah,
is the wig
and bronze too.
Yeah.
No, she's blonde.
Yeah, I don't think it's a wig anymore. He also asked, do you prefer annuals to be self-contained or part of an ongoing story in the main line, or do you prefer annuals to tie into the yearly event? I still love those Marvel.
Yeah, like Atlantis Attacks and Acts of Vengeance.
Bring those back. DC has had a lot of success the last few years of having the annual be either the start or the end of a major storyline. And I actually really like that because it's sort of just like a cool double-sized bonus. You're talking about bonus, right? Bonus issue, right?
So a lot of the annuals that I really, really liked kind of have a tie-in to the emotional story that's being told, sort of like the Tom King Batman one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't feel like you had to read that to stay with, but no. I like when they're as you said, more like bonus content. Like it enhances the story overall that's being told, while not necessarily being like, oh, I'm reading issue 12, I go to 13, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just depends on if they do it right. You know, if it's tying in with something that's going on in the entire universe for the year, then it really needs to work and click.
Well, towards the end, like the DC did a number of them where I'm like, okay, it's JL Ape, and it's like, we're getting like the Dead Earths ones, and they were like, these are okay, but
well, that's the thing.
The Marvel ones were
the Marvel ones were great, and the thing about the Marvel ones that I kind of really love, and I agree with you, they should do this more, is I would buy the other annuals for comics I wasn't actually reading because it was like this big crossover event that was just in the annuals.
Yeah. And they felt special.
Yeah. And I have to assume, at least to some degree, those annuals sold better than the normal comics did because of
crossover.
Those
could have. Yeah, I don't know.
If I'm picking up the Avengers annual and then it's continued in the Captain America annual, I would assume Captain America might get it. Like Avengers might go down a little bit. Captain America should get a good bump from that for me.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah. It really depends.
Yeah. Is that the answer?
Yeah, because I mean, if it's a good, solid standalone story, then that gives you extra content. Great. If it's something that ties into the feeling that's going on in the book during that year or whatever, fantastic. If it's a crossover with a couple other books, it exposes you to other characters, great. If it's a line-wide thing, awesome. But all of it hinges on whether it's done right or not. Because I've read a lot of annuals that were just shitty fucking stories.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's just like,
But they've recently too, especially Marvel. They've done. There was a random Silver Surfer annual that came out the other week, and we're like, "There's no series. This is an annual. It's just they're just like." We've got the story in storage. Let's just throw it out here.
Just an inventory story.
Yeah, it's whatever this thing is sitting here. I mean, I haven't read it. Maybe it's the greatest comic of all time. I don't know, but it's not connected to anything. It's not part of a. It's like, I guess this exists. All right.
I'm always a little disappointed to read an annual where it's like it's just feels like kind of a double-sized issue of the series.
Yeah.
Like the annual always used to be a special occasion, whether or not it was a crossover. It was like big.
This book made another 12 issues.
Yeah, but I mean, there was some big story, like the JLA JSA crossover, for example. That was in a once a year thing.
Yeah.
So my disappointment is when I read an annual that's, air quotes, just good. I'm always kind of like, that could have just been issue 13 and 14.
Well, yeah, at some point, annuals went from a special event to being, like you said, just another story, right? Yeah. And I think that takes away from what they're meant to be, which I think DC...
We got to fill something.
Well, because if you tell me, you know...
Get that house draw artist in here.
If you tell me there's a Teen Titans Batman crossover and Teen Titans Annual 3 is the final part, I'm going to order a lot of copies of that. Yeah. If Teen Titans Annual 3 is... Robin's got a date. Okay, maybe, but I mean, I'll order a couple less than normal, but it's not anything special.
Which Robin is it? And who's his date?
Depends.
Because if his date's Harley Quinn...
I'll get an extra copy for you, Brock. It's got a question from Jesus, and I haven't dunked on ComicGate in a little while. Let's hear this one.
Fuck, why?
He says, a couple years ago, we met Ethan Van Sciver at Stockton Comic-Con. What do you think his signed comics are worth today? Jesus, thank you very much for this question. I also have multiple signed comics by Ethan Van Sciver and Jeff Johns. I wish I could throw half of that comic in the trash right now.
Well, you can.
I mean, I could, but I'd get rid of Jeff.
You could just get some scissors
I just sort of look at the word balloons now. I just don't look at the art. Okay, if people don't know what we're talking about, if you haven't heard about ComicGate, we've gone on about these guys before. This has sort of entered a whole new world recently of drama. The long and the short of it is there's a group of racist white supremacists and trolls on the internet under the guise of making comics great again. And they go by the name of ComicGate.
I thought it was diversity in comics.
Well, that is one of them, yes. Former DC Comics artist and will never be a DC or Marvel Comics artist ever again. Ethan Van Sciver is one of the many heads of this, along with a few other people who I will not name because I don't want to give them any press, but we all know who Ethan Van Sciver is. They've had a history of harassing people in the comics industry, usually women and usually minorities.
Also sexual orientation.
Sure, of course, and a lot of LGBTQ creators. And yeah, these guys have gone particularly off the rails in the last few weeks as the comic industry at large, including most major creators at every major company, has finally kind of really started to be outspoken against these guys. I know Bill Sienkiewicz, Tom Taylor, a few of these guys, Dan Jurgens, they all had Jerry Conway's been going after these guys for months now. They've all had quite a bit to say publicly about these guys, and it's led to some pretty hilarious stuff in the back. I mean, it's terrible for people being abused, obviously. But
it's the Comicsgate people are crying. The people that make my comics don't like me.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Multiple Comicsgate comic companies have started up as a result of this. That the first books off the shelf have done really well because people are kind of voting with their dollar, right, to support these. I'll be really curious the long-term success of these titles.
Did you order any of these books?
Well, fortunately, none of these are available through previews in Diamond Comics. They're all run through Kickstarter or what is it? The other crowdfunding services. I discovered
GoFundMe.
I discovered a genius one, which is Chuck Dixon, longtime very conservative comic book creator, but has done some of the. I mean, easily one of the top 5 Batman creators of all time, right? I mean, Chuck Dixon is responsible for almost everything we've known in the modern day for Batman. His run on all the Bat titles in the 90s.
His Bane Conquest
defined Batman for the modern day. He is writing a comic book based on the internet cult known as QAnon. If you're not familiar with that, you can go look that up. Kevin's rubbing his eyes. The hero we need, Q, a new hero based on QAnon. So you guys can go look up that if you really want to deep dive into the insanity.
Let me just tell you, I got all of Bane Conquest. I read all of Bane Conquest.
You're a fool.
Chuck Dixon sucks ass.
Well, I mean, now it's really bad. Yeah. So yeah, Ethan Van Sciver, a bit of a real asshole. Good luck with Cyberfrog, dude. You're gonna need it.
Cyberfrog.
Yeah, that's his old indie creation that he's brought back. Cyberfrog's back to own the libs, man. He did some video where he was like cutting the heads off of like what's her face from Star Wars, Rose Tico.
Oh yeah, the one that was being harassed.
Yeah, and he was like stabbing some comics with like a knife or some fucking crazy shit like that. This dude's
really
dude's a serious
Van Sciver.
Yeah, dude's a serious whack job. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, this is not new.
Right.
This stuff has been going on in the background. It's become a lot more public, and he's gone real deep. The Comic-Gate guys, like
the Comic-Gate guys, have just gotten more aggressive.
All the diversity in comics, they all made their accounts private and everything like that now. So like, can't blockchain them anymore. Oh well. But yeah, these guys are all yeah. Go look up the Comic-Gate company, the forum too. A famous white supremacist has co-opted Comic-Gate and made it and registered trademarks, and the other Comic-Gate people are like, "No, it's not us. We're this, not this." And it's like, you're all the same people. Like, you're all scumbags. So, fun time.
We're not that racist.
We're just racist. We just hate women. We don't hate.
We're just like a side of racism. We're not an entree racism.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. These people are awful. He also asks, this Sunday is going to the South City Comic Con in Daly City. Looking to get some signatures. Do you guys like going to smaller cons or bigger ones? I've always been a fan of small Comic Cons. There's fewer of them these days, but I do like small cons because you can actually find some cool random stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, Comic Con and New York Comic Con, those things are neat, but they're a commitment.
They don't have comics.
You can't just they have a lot less comics than they used to. You can't just walk in and hang out and leave when you want. Like, they're the trip you are making of the year is to Comic Con, right? Mm-hmm. I know, Charlie, you've done a lot of the big ones.
Yeah, and I mean, Emerald City is still my favorite of all the ones sort of in that bigger category at this point, but that's because it's still got a lot of good creator turnout at actual tables, not
not
scheduling nightmares.
Scheduling
But see, my issue with a lot of smaller cons, and maybe I need to do more traveling, but I feel like for the most part, like when we used to have smaller cons here more often, for the most part, I would see the same people at every single con. Like most of
it's like
the
art
same
wine festivals. You'd see the same thing over and over again.
So I kind of felt like after a few years of doing one, it's like, I can take the next few years off.
Yeah, it's the same people at the small cons.
So I could see some value in being like, I'm going to go to a small con here, or I'm going to hit a small con in the East Coast, for instance, or something. I could see doing that. It's hard for me to consider committing to a smaller con year after year.
Sure. I mean, I like the toy show they have here, but I don't need to go to it I don't need to go to it every 3 months, right? Because it's like, it is the same stuff. Every other year? Cool. Oh, yeah, this is neat, but...
I was just looking up the Comic-Con he referenced.
Yeah. I didn't even know about it.
I didn't either. So, that's why I was looking it up. But there used to be some really good conventions around here that were, I don't want to say small, but medium size, like Big Wow.
Yeah. That's Silicon Valley now.
Yeah, I know. But that was a good little show. And the thing with these, and there used to be a lot of shows, and this was going back to the 90s around this area, that would be like in a hotel ballroom. And you just show up, it's $5 to get in the door, and it's literally just tables of people selling comics.
Yeah.
And if that's your thing, which I like that kind of show, it's very quiet.
Yeah.
You can hear yourself flipping through the...
there's less of those these days.
Yeah, there are way less, because I just don't think I don't think there's enough return on investment. Because it depends on people coming in to buy comic books.
Well,
people expect a random Power Ranger to be there, and a handful of celebrities of some various level, and
just the amount they're charging you to actually have a table there is becoming
10 tables with pop figures to the ceiling.
I kind of feel like back then, and maybe you guys will have a different opinion of this, but back then cons were more kind of run through fan groups and love and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nowadays, most of the cons you see that have kind of pushed out a lot of these other smaller cons in certain areas are run as a absolute business now. It's the people who have tables there are trying to make money. The people who are running the convention are trying to make money. It's not what it used to be. It's
like for me, it's like even going to Big Wow. It's like I went because I worked at the con.
Yep.
I'm like, wait, I want to pay $50 to go one day to look at shit that I can see every single day, or if I just go to 3 different comic book stores in the Bay Area, I'll see this stuff.
Right.
So
cons are great for people that don't have 3 comic book stores in their area, or 10, or 40 like we have here. But
that's exaggeration.
Yeah. Between here, San Francisco,
I was going to say, it depends on how you define the area.
There's nothing on the peninsula.
You go Santa Cruz, Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco. Yeah, there's 40 comic stores.
Maybe
there is.
Well, the peninsula doesn't have anything.
Yeah, there's a few out there. There's a lot of comic stores around here now.
But the peninsula doesn't have anything since Lee's closed that one shop down.
There's a few stores up that way, further up.
So to answer the guy's question, I think it comes down to San Diego is a great experience.
Yeah.
I don't know
it's
that
not a great Comic-Con.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a great Comic-Con, but as a convention experience, it's one of a kind.
Yeah.
If you want to go meet comic creators and have interaction with them and buy comic book related things, I don't think San Diego or a con like that is your best bet to do that. So to answer his question, do you like big or small? I think it kind of depends on what it is you want to get out of the convention.
Yeah. I mean, it's way easier to meet creators at smaller cons than it is at Comic-Con. They'll be there at Comic-Con, but good luck getting to them. That's the problem.
And that's, as I said, that's why I like Emerald City, because there is something very, very novel about Gail Simone just having her own table and being there most of the time.
Right.
And WonderCon is kind of like that still. It's not huge, and there is
we up here in the north have issues with it because it left us. We feel abandonment.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other matter. We'll do that on a comic conspiracy after dark for those who are just in the Bay Area.
Dark.
We got
is there a nightcap with that?
Not going to get to every one of these questions, but I do want to get to this one real quick. This is from, where is it? There it is. This is from Dan. He runs Southside Comics. And I did want to answer this question because
Southside Comics where?
Let's see. I do not know the city he is in. That's a good question.
Chicago?
Southside. It says he's mostly a Pittsburgh sports fan, so I'm going to assume it's Pittsburgh, PA. There you go.
Southside?
Dan says the direct market distribution is changing because of publisher practices shifting most of the risk to retailers. Higher price points, weekly titles, FOC abuse, final order cutoff abuse. That's when they like to not give us actually the info at FOC, and we're kind of going blind. Gated variants.
You mean like you screaming at DC, is Mara or Dolphin on the cover?
Just tell me if Mara or Dolphin is on the cover of Aquaman's variant cover, and I triple my order. That's all you have to tell me.
Yeah.
Gated
it doesn't
variants.
matter the artist.
Right.
If it's that character.
Well, it's going to be Joshua Middleton. Gated variants like the Marvel variants, etc. What changes besides returnability would help level the playing field and improve industry health? Dan, you know me. I'm always talking on these forums. I should just got a 24-hour muted from the FOC forum. I did not realize the drastic nature in which they changed their policy. So when I was trying to dunk on Marvel for having Diamond double ship half the Marvel books to us this week, accidentally, quote unquote, just before the end of quarter, I was like, I wonder if there's a reason all my Marvel stuff got double shipped this week accidentally. And then they're like, yeah, no, don't talk shit about any comic company ever again. So I have to now create a Facebook group where I can talk shit about comic companies behind their backs instead of on Twitter where I normally do it publicly or on the podcast publicly. It's better when you do it with retailers that understand your pain, right?
Oh, God.
If you want copies of Iceman, we've got copies of Iceman for days.
It's really bad that it's coming out of your ass.
But Dan, a lot of these I actually have no problem with because of one thing. Well, two things. One thing, it's pre-orders. But the reason? The hub, baby. Oh, that sweet hub.
Yeah.
Higher price points, it's going to happen. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There is no upper limit. People bitch at every price point increase. We'll be bitching when they're $4.99 in a couple of years. We'll be bitching when they're $5.99 in a couple of years. Kevin's rolling his eyes. It's going to happen.
No, I know.
It's going to happen.
And I'm saying, and you've just lost all of the experimental, like, bottom-tier books as soon as you hit...
No. Has it stopped them now? Did $3.99 stop them?
But I'm saying...
it's not...
It slowed them down.
It's slowing
Did
them
it?
down. Yeah.
Did it really? Do you look up what's on the shelf these days? There's a lot of random ass stuff on the shelves.
When we had this conversation last time, and I threw out just a number off the top of my head, if your comics budget is $50 a month, that's insane. For some people, their whole entertainment budget for a month is $50, and that includes your Netflix, your Spotify, whatever you're paying for.
Sure.
Like, if you can buy 4 comics a month, you're going to buy, as an example, Avengers, Justice League, Superman, Captain America.
Sure.
Anything else is cut the throat and throw it overboard. I'm saying when it gets to a certain price point.
Yeah, of course.
Or you're just going to have people that no longer purchase at point of and wait for
Or they just make more money because minimum wage goes up. I mean, a little bit. And, the
minimum wage goes up. What country do you live in?
Well, California. So
this is true.
Yeah.
We're apparently a human being.
Yeah. Obviously there's been a lot of stuff where, the country's doing really good, except wages aren't increasing at all. Why is that? I wonder why. But people are finding money to spend on comic books, right? Like the industry is the unit sales.
It's a drug.
20, 25 years in is flat. I mean, there is no, despite the death calls from people that want to see the industry die, the industry is perfectly fine. Higher price points will not affect the sales of comics. We've seen this happen. Sales don't change. Sometimes bad stories change the sales, right? Yeah. Weekly titles. I love weekly titles. I love bi-weekly titles. I can deal with fucking up on FOC for an issue or two, but if you're that off, you need to look at your own ordering practice. Like, if you're really that off on a weekly title, I question what you are thinking about your own, what you would normally order for a book, because if you got a handful of extra, I mean, if you're like, I'm going to order 100 of these, do you sell 100 copies? Like, if weekly's that bad, then scale back a little bit and trim every couple issues. Trim 2, trim 2, trim 3, trim 3.
I mean, when it comes to comic books and working in the store as a retailer, and you're going to ordering a book, it's basically a simple graph. Your number one's going to be up here somewhere, and you have to find that number.
Yep.
And then 2 is going to be a number that's further down.
Every time we get to like issue 3 or 4, and I'm like, oh shit, we're selling out. I got to jack my numbers up. I always get fucked in issue like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It happened with Venom. It just happened with Avengers. It's going to happen. It just happened with Spider-Man. I've done this long enough. I know exactly what these books are going to sell. And when I sell out of issue 2 and maybe 3, I got to remember that 4 and 5 will continue to drop. This is just the nature of these things. Some books, it won't. But the vast majority of books, it will just be this. There's just a fucking precipice for 1, 2, and then
that's the thing is you have to realize that there's the standard, right? Like 5, 4, 5, 6, 7,
hundreds of copies of Amazing Spider-Man #1 and like 40 copies of #3.
Yeah, but you're going to have those fluke books, right?
Yeah, it'll happen.
Mr. Miracle, you still sell the amount of Mr. Miracle that you started with.
Yeah,
because it's pretty much
dropped a little bit.
Dropped a little, but it's pretty much the same because everyone's like, "Oh, Tom King, okay, done." Right?
Yep. And there's a case of a book where I think a lot of stores don't order heavy. I get people coming in picking up every issue because they're like, "Holy shit, you have this!"
Yes,
right. I'm okay with weekly and bi-weekly titles, assuming you have an aware of your ordering system, because that's a lot of money coming in. Stores can make so much money on a weekly series if you hit it right.
Mm-hmm.
FOC abuse, again, just tell me who the cover artist is. Just tell me if it's Mera or a dolphin on the cover. That's all I need to know. Yeah, it sucks when they don't have the cover, but don't go crazy, right? Mm-hmm. Gated variants suck. There's no doubt about it. Marvel's going to do what Marvel does. You hit it or you don't. You get them or you don't. I mean, I still bitch about it, but there's nothing you can do. They're just going to do this, right?
Well, the funny thing is a lot of times those gated variants that you can't get miraculously end up on some sale like in 6 fucking months. If
someone really, really wants them, sure. Honestly, just pre-order, man. Push those pre-orders. If people come in and say, you didn't get this? Be like, did you pre-order it? No? Well,
with the hub,
should have pre-ordered
the thing is, like with the hub, I mean, we talked to praises of the hub, but it's gotten more people to be engaged in their own pre-orders of books.
I can't even tell you the increase. Michael Rodden, you're listening to me, literally the only customer that would turn in a previews order for the last couple years.
Hey, I turned mine in now on the hub.
The amount of physical previews order, right?
Oh, like physical previews on the order form?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
After a while, they started just emailing me.
Yeah.
Occasionally, people would say, can you sign me up for this? Yeah. But it wasn't until stuff was in store that people did it. Because of Comic Hub, our pre-orders have increased 1,000-fold. Mm-hmm. I'm not even joking. A staggering amount of people in a very short amount of time have started using it to order a ridiculous amount of random product that I never would have stocked in the store, to confirm variant cover orders, to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to. You can wander in your old comic store on Wednesday and do it. But, man, pre-order. We're not a charity. We're a business. We're not going to get stuff to sit on the shelf and have 100 copies of every single book for you to walk in. That's not the way the industry works. It's never worked that way. It never will work that way. No industry works that way. You will not go into GameStop and get your favorite game unless it's Madden these days, because they just won't have it, right? You're not going to walk into Best Buy and buy a Blu-ray the day it comes up, because they're just not going to stock them anymore. They may have 1 or 2 and they're gone in 5 minutes, right? This is just the way retail works today. Order. Pre-order. If you want it, show commitment with an order. That's the only way to guarantee it. Yes, Justice League and Amazing Spider-Man will probably be on the shelf. Probably. Mm-hmm. That was not the case with Amazing Spider-Man 2 and 3 for us. We blew through those way fast because I had very few pre-orders for those books past the Dan Slott run. So I went very low. And I told people, if you want this, please let me know so you can order it. And then sure enough, I got like 15 more people to subscribe to it, but I had no more copies to sell past that, right?
Yep.
Past what we had for additional normal subscribers, plus all the new pre-orders. So the people that pre-ordered it got it. Now we're fine, but that's just the way this happened. If I don't want to pre-order, I don't want to commit, well, then you're not. Then you might not get the book. I mean, that's just simple fact. If you really want the book, pre-order it. If you don't, you may get it.
Well, and the thing is like, I mean, it's really, really simple.
Well, and you see my shelves. It's not like I have one copy of everything or nothing, right?
No,
I mean, we have a stacked shelf, but I'm not ordering stuff to have 20 copies left over at the end of the week.
No.
That's just not the way retail works anymore.
No, you are ordering to sell out on that wall, and what you will accept is 2 going over to that shelf.
Yeah,
and by the time it goes to the bin,
1 to 3 is my magic number.
Yeah, and then by the time it goes into that back issue bin over there, 0 or 1.
0, yeah, yep.
That's the goal.
Those are my goals.
But the fact of the matter is that it's simple to pre-order nowadays. I mean, really, you only need to look at two or three publishers. I mean, most people only get DC, Marvel, or some random independent company. It's like all you got to do is once a month look through their catalog and go, "Oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. Oh, I want that." That's it.
Yep. And especially for the small press stuff. Again, Justice League is going to be on the shelf, right? The 10th copy of an Image book, if you're going to a new store, is probably not going to be on that shelf, right? It's just not. I mean, unless it's Saga, right? But that's it, right? So
you stopped ordering Birthright for the shelf.
I've stopped ordering most independent books for the shelf across every publisher because after a handful of issues, I don't sell any shelf copies, and that's just I don't mind having a copy or 2 of Daredevil left over because some dude's going to wander in 6 months and grab a stack of them, right? Or they'll go in the bag issue bins. That's fine. Independent, independent. Most of them I aim to sell out past the first couple issues, and the graphic novel becomes the dominant form past that. So, because that's like the more permanent collection. So yeah, big changes in comic stores the last couple of years. Get in the pre-order, man. Love that hub. We have got to go, but before we go, we missed our beginning of the month Patreon plugs from last week. We have a lot of people to thank on Patreon.
You actually going to go through this list now, or are you just going to record those later?
No, I'm doing it right now. You can start closing up, start getting packed up, Brock. Do whatever you got to do, Kevin. Trust me, I will not be 30 minutes like Bryce.
I'm having commentary on this bitch.
Because I'm going to thank our good friend like Julian Titus at the Nerds of the Pants podcast on pixelbit.com. Also want to thank
recording this week, or is he going to be playing that Spider-Man game?
Everyone's playing Spider-Man. Everyone except for me.
Photo mode.
Getting on Black Friday. Ryan Hess's Blowhards, which is a video game podcast at blowhards.libsyn.com. Jody Lawson is Canon, the Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicsstudio.com. Sam Che, Craig Anderson, Joe Duff, Andrew Nelson Mendez with the Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast. Thank you for all your support. Darfox 8.
You got back home okay.
Yeah, hopefully. Darfox 8 at the Manga Machinations podcast, which I will be recording with them this weekend, so I don't know when the episode comes out. I think it should be out next week. It's their 4th anniversary podcast. We're going to talk about how little I know about manga on that podcast.
That's a great anniversary.
It's manga from the not really manga guy. So that's sort of that's a little bit of the pitch. Also, Larry Davis has the Stand to Deliver podcast about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Please check all those podcasts out on iTunes or wherever they are hosted. I'm assuming iTunes. Or I use Pocket Cast now. That my thing? Where's my thing? Right here. Pocket Cast? Yeah, Pocket Cast. I've bought like 2 apps in my entire life. Pocket Cast is easily the number 1 app I've ever bought in my entire life.
How much does it cost?
It's like $4, I think.
And why are we not getting money from them for this plug?
Because you should just, if you have an Android device and you have Bluetooth enabled on your car, or you listen to it on your phone, Pocket Cast is amazing. I finally deleted iTunes. Toby's gone? Okay, good. I finally deleted iTunes off every computer I own. Thank God.
Tell us how you really feel.
Dennis Janssen, thank you very much for your support on Patreon. Alex McHale, Matthew Schnapp, just Adam, Just Adam. David Baroldi, Don Kilson, Mark Long, Michael Zakevic, Ivan Liskanik, Brian Morawski. Thank you. I'm not going to do the Bryce thing where I compliment every single person. They all know how I feel. Samurai Godzilla, Miles Gakula, Bryce Larson quotes. Ooh, sorry, Bryce Larson quotes. Paula Schultz, Mark Smith, Joseph Rodriguez, Keith Amaral, Jack Ildefonso.
Hey,
yes, of course. Christopher Noyes, David Sfar, Identity Stunt. Thank you, guys. Go check out the Identity Stunt comics from Marcosa. This guy's Joe, a good guy. PJ Ryder, Tyler Wiltis, Rob, Ben Dixon, Travis Fleischman, Mason Barber, Robert Lane, Mike Giorgio, Christopher Stone, Thad Gutschall, Timothy Rockner, Rontker, Chris Lockhart, Aaron Wright, Father Dante. Well, it's a couple letters got mixed up. Garen Dubnar, Nick Harrison, Alex Young, Chris Palaki, Kevin Ellis, Chris Olivis, Wally Ansari. This is what happens when I have Bryce do it for like 3 months and Toby, and I forget how to pronounce everyone's names.
Well, the funny thing is your pacing goes like quick and then slow and then
Nick Zappa.
Like you want to get to the Micro Machines guy level, but you're not quite there yet.
Mario Miranda, Dominic Irisman, Chris Kim, Chris Bunch. Hey, good seeing Chris the other week too. He came up.
Oh, he
came up last week. Yeah.
Nice.
Gordon McKenzie. Greg Lindsay, Chris Nguyen, Edgar Moreno, and Andrew Cuscieri. You should go check out Andrew's stuff on YouTube. He does some really great videos about video games. That would be a $25 plug, but I'm plugging him at the $5 amount because, bitch, that's what I do. Thank you all for your backing on Patreon at patreon.com/comic-conspiracy.
What, you thought you wouldn't be able to do
like
it
4 minutes or something?
Well, minus the CastBox plug, you did that in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, see?
So, Larson, how did you possibly push that exact routine to almost 28 minutes that last time? That was a 3.5 minute list.
That's what Bryce does.
I know, but I'm just saying, I can't. I'm trying to even. I was here, and I can't. I'm not even sure how we did it.
Because he had in-depth discussions about the soccer teams.
Yeah, it was like,
relate to all these people.
Yes.
Yeah. The Comic Conspiracy Podcast is available at comicconspiracypodcast.com, geekbox.net, and iTunes, where you can rate and review us. It always helps. Or Pocket Casts. Yeah, definitely. YouTube.com/comicsconspiracy. You can find all our episodes on there as well. If you want to sub to us on there. We got a few hundred subscribers. Nice. Doing well. Smash that like button. Patreon.com.
You want to like and subscribe.
You want to like that smash button. Patreon.com/comic-conspiracy, of course, is where you can give us a couple bucks. The Comic Conspiracy Geekbox.net is for those long form emails, and maybe I'll get to those someday.
You say that every time.
I say a lot of stuff every time. Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz is where you can pick up your digital comics. They just finished a buy one, get one free on Marvel sales. They have a bunch of big comic sales going on right now. There's a big Dark Horse sale going on. You should check those out. Comicsconspiracy.biz, of course, is where you can purchase all your physical comic books to be shipped through Comic. Love that hub. So if you go to comicsconspiracy.biz, you can buy some comics. We'll ship them directly to your house. You can subscribe to Comics Conspiracy for a mail order via customer.comichub.com. Just choose Comics Conspiracy as your store. ConspiratorBrock.com, that's Brock's blog and video pull list. You can go check out his videos there. You didn't get a chance to do that video, but maybe you should go and answer those questions anyway. Throw it up on your site. We need content for the YouTube page.
Yeah, okay.
Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension Pod.
Content for the YouTube page?
Content for the YouTube page, yes, and Patreon. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension Podcast is Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. You can check them out on iTunes, as well as Etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hale Art. She just did a nice Captain Marvel and Billy Batson piece.
You mean Shazam?
So you can go pick that up on our Etsy store or hear a Comics Conspiracy.
It's really, really good.
I'm Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. I'm Ryan Higgins Ryan on Twitter, I should say. Brock is Brock Sager. Bryce is Larson Bryce. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie's Incendiary and Chaos. Kevin Sharp is that Kevin Sharp? Yes.
And a quick blog plug.
Yeah, of
It
course.
is Kevin's World of Comics at Tumblr. And people have written and asked, do you need a Tumblr account to read it?
No.
You do not.
Yeah.
Just to get the feed of it. You can also find Brian Bendis on there and other fun people in the Tumblr world.
And you're getting some love over there.
Yeah. It's
cool.
crazy.
You're getting a lot of people smashing that like button, huh?
Yeah.
Smashing that subscribe button.
Smashing that subscribe button. It's
nice.
crazy.
That's
I
good.
guess I should publicize more.
Talking about old school comics.
Yeah.
Get an Instagram account.
I have that. But it's like links to the Tumblr.
The store account is Comics Con Store. You can. I'm a lot less feisty on that account. Geekbox Comedy Button, Manga Machinations, which I'll be on next week, and the Infinite Binge on YouTube. You can check all those out. Their little network of stuff. And that's a long episode. We're going to wrap up here. Almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours.
That's it.
That's nothing.
It was like 2 podcasts in one.
Not really.
That's it. We're going to wrap up. We'll catch everyone next week.